where's the boundary between self-care and being selfish?
Mhm.
And specifically, he's talking about time, with our time.
Yeah. This is really tricky, but one of the marks of a healthy adult is the balance of being able to take care of myself, my relationships, like especially my marriage and my kids all at the same time. That's a lot. For kids are only really kind of taking care of themselves and then not even so much. Like we have a daughter who just came home from her second to last year of college, and she is mostly self-sufficient, taking care of herself. In a year, she's going to get married, and all of a sudden, she's going to go from having to just take care of herself to taking care of a relationship. It's like you start to juggle two balls, right? You're thinking of you and what you need and your marriage and what it needs. And then you add kids, and that's a lot of balls in the air. Each kid is a ball. So this is what is so tricky. And what they say is that the age at which you start using any addictive substance to medicate your feelings, whether it's alcohol, drugs, sex, that is the age at which your emotional maturity gets arrested. And so part of the tug of war is going to be continuing to grow up to the point where you can juggle those balls. But it's not easy. There's no way I can give you a super cut and dry answer of where the line is or the boundary between self-care and being selfish. I would say listen to your marriage, listen to your wife. If your wife is feeling like you're spending so much time like golfing or whatever it is, and money, you're spending all this time and money on these things, and you're in a season where you're spending extra time doing your recovery meetings, and you're working on, let's say you're working on getting enough sleep every night, because you know that if you're not getting enough sleep, your resistance to temptation and whatnot, your bandwidth to press through the hard things goes way down. You have to kind of determine where that line is. But I would say a barometer would be if your wife is feeling like you're not there for me or for building our marriage, or you're not there for our kids. I know there are wives that have a really hard time with their husbands going to multiple meetings a week and all the things that are involved with recovery. And what I would say is rarely would I ever encourage you to give that up. Although I have known people that become like addicted to recovery in such a way that it takes over their entire life, right? If you're wondering about that, ask one of your guys in MIB or your coach or your therapist, like, hey, is this getting a little imbalanced? Also, anytime you're wondering, am I skirting the line here between self-care and being selfish and not being there to juggle taking care of my marriage, taking care of my children? I would always bounce your specific situation off of somebody else, because there may be some hobbies or things you do to try to do self-care that maybe you've taken a little overboard, like maybe it is a little too much, and maybe you need to dial it back. I don't know. It really depends.
Mm-hmm. One thing I was thinking about too is there could be a scenario where he was acting out outside of the home, whatever it is, and he plays golf near one of the massage parlors, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I think there could be wisdom in changing your self-care program as well, where staying home but taking care of yourself in a different context. There is a balance too between self-care and helping your wife feel safe. And
yeah,
you really do need to do both. You need to take responsibility for both. So yeah, that something, maybe self-care at home, right? Whatever that looks like.